The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. It's a race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first win with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt there's plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. The ever-tightening turns of 1 and 2 will prove tricky in the slippery conditions here in Shanghai, and anyone that slides wide will lose a lot of time getting back on track. Turn 14 should still be the best place for overtaking, but we'll have to see some improvement in the weather before the drivers can take advantage of that DRS assistance. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. The captain lines up on pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton, Kobayashi, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Stroll, Ocon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Bottas, Perez, Hülkenberg, Sargent, Albon, and Zhou Guanyu. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Welcome to Driving Immersion for the immersive racing experience. If this is your first time here, we drive full-length races without assists and in full simulation, from the driver's cockpit with a force feedback wheel and pedal set. If you enjoy the racing here at Driving Immersion, give us a like and subscribe. It helps others like you reach our channel. In addition, you will be notified when the next race is available. Our content is on Facebook in HD and on YouTube in Ultra HD. We're in China for the 2024 Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai International Circuit. It's raining as the race starts, and the forecast calls for continued rain. Here's our setup for the race. We're going to do a one-stop, at least we're hoping to do so, and we're going to reduce our fuel again. Right now you can see we've got 57.8 laps in a 56-lap race. Just spare fuel for any extra racing that we may have to do. Again, we are looking at rain, so we probably won't be consuming that much fuel, but we'll still have some in reserve. Here's our setup, and again, you can just pause the video to review it. So here we are at pole position on the grid. We are waiting for the formation lap to start. This Grand Prix is very long. It's a very long track around, and it's going to be raining throughout. So here we go down the main straight, and we're going to have a reducing.
Okay, so everything looks good on the power unit cycles, so let's concentrate on bringing tyres and brakes up to temperature.
So turn 1 and turn 2 here are a reducing right-hand turn, and we're going to flick very quickly to the left here for turn 3. We're going to start accelerating out very carefully, as again it's very slick. Turn 4 here to the left. A slight right turn here is turn 5.
Okay, so heavy rainfall here to stay for a while. Doesn't look like it's moving on anytime soon.
Down through turn 6, a very slow right-hander, and that's going to take us down to 2nd or 3rd gear in the rain. Turn 7 here, a very wide left-hander. Turn 8 to the right, and we're going to reduce the speed here, probably 2nd or 3rd gear in this rain. Turn 10 here to the left, and we're going to accelerate out very hard, but only very briefly, as we have to slow down for the slowest.
Getting a feel for the wheel spin.
Turn on the track.
And locking up the brakes.
Turn 11 to the left. Again, very slow here. Turn 13.
It's going to be critical. Accelerating out.
Down the very long back straight. It is our 2nd DRS zone. And the approach of turn 14 is going to see a lot of passing through the race. So again, full throttle and full speed through here. We're going to be using our ERS. Slowing the car down through turn 14 and 15. And then very quickly through turn 16, just a quick flick to the left. As we approach the start-finish line. So again, starting off in pole position, we reach
parking there, nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get good launch as the race starts.
Reach our grid spot and we wait for
the start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Other cars to form the grid.
It's gonna be a tough race.
So lights out and here we go. Very wide in turn 1 and turn 2. Again, it's a reducing radius to the right. We're able to stay ahead of the Mercedes as we reach the apex. That is George Russell right behind us. See there from the wide shot that the rain is absolutely coming down. Looks like everybody's on intermediate so far. On board with Lando Norris on the McLaren, looking at the Mercedes and the driving immersion number 66 in the lead. Coming in through 11 and 12 and 13 as we exit out here. Again, very careful on the throttle. So again, at the beginning of the race, we're going to take this opportunity to complain about the tire spray from the wet tarmac. And it seems as if we are on the intermediates. There's very reduced tire spray. The tire spray from the rain is actually more visible when we have a set of the full wet tires. And unfortunately, there's no scaling or any points in between where we can see satisfactory tire spray. There should be a lot more tire spray considering visually how much water is on the track, the fact that it is raining, and it looks like it's raining pretty good. So we just want to put that rant out there, and hopefully it can be appreciated by the team at EA, if you know what I mean. So very slow turn 11 here, and we slide out just a little bit, understeer. Big loss of traction there in the rear, and it's going to happen many times throughout this wet race. Looking at the timing there, George Russell in the Mercedes is already 2.3 seconds behind. He does have Lando Norris just behind him, just under the wing. And a little further back, Oscar Piastri in the other McLaren. Max Verstappen in 5th place. Very carefully through 16. So we're having a look at this race between George Russell and Lando Norris in the McLaren. Right now they are one of the two that are closely racing together, at least near the front. So you can actually hear him lifting off the throttle a little bit through the turns here and early on into the braking zones. On board with the 66, you get a quick view there, the rear view mirror, a McLaren and a Mercedes just behind. From the nose cam of Lando Norris, that is the Mercedes of George Russell, crossing the start-finish line. Now the 66 was a little bit slow coming in through the 1, 2, and 3 complex there. And you can see the Mercedes got very close. So definitely within reach and giving us a race. Turn 9, turn 10. Watching George Russell and Lando Norris from the lead, coming in through turn 14 and 15. Turn 16 now. And again, across the start-finish line to start another lap. Looking back at the McLaren and the Mercedes, it looks like Lando Norris has gotten around George Russell. There we go. Another look at the back. So at the start of the race, we got to see a couple of choices for the race strategy. We went with a single stop, and there was a choice for a two-stop, meaning you'll have used 3 tires by the end of the race. And we'll see one of those strategies folding out pretty soon for those that are going with the 3-stop. Down the back straight through a DRS zone that we're not using today, at least until it stops raining. Lando Norris within reach through turn 16 here. And again, we take the right-hand side of the road, coming through the start-finish line. There is a big bump there on the left, and for some reason, it doesn't cause any damage to the car, but we do feel it when we drive through there. Back on board with Lando Norris in the McLaren, following the 66 through turn 11, turn 12, and turn 13, down the back straight. He's got a good run on us at this time around. But not enough at the end of the straight. So Lando Norris back in tow through turn 15 and 16 here. Challenging again to the right on turn 1 and turn 2. And he's going to have us before we get to turn 13. So Lando Norris in the lead now. And we've got the Mercedes of George Russell just behind, challenging the 66. You can see the rain continues to come down pretty good. Still no call for the full wets, as there is a dry line clearly visible on the track. So even though it looks like it's a lot of rain, it's perhaps not a lot of rain at all. Again on the exit of turn 13. McLaren has got a good stretch on us now. There is George Russell popping out. See if he can get by the 66. So even though there's a lot of rain coming down, it looks like the sky has gotten lighter. Perhaps the rain will be ending soon. And coming again through turn 1. Very tricky here, as turn 1 to turn 2 is a decreasing radius. Turn 3 here to the left. Again, Lando Norris up front now in the lead. And you kind of just have to hold back a little bit, realizing that it is raining. The track surface is slippery and wet. So no diving through the turns. And we've got to basically build a pass as we go around the track. So just from the last few turns, you can see that the 66 is able to regain a lot of time through the braking zones, but the McLaren just up ahead happens to have a better slingshot out of the straights or out of the turns. And you can see here that he gets away just a little bit. And it's just a matter of fighting traction from the rear wheels. So I think as far as the settings are concerned, we may have had to increase the differential lock a little bit, and maybe we'll have a better exit out of these slow turns. So here we go, turn 10 again. We are looking on from the rear wing of Lando Norris at the number 66 in second place, coming around turn 13. And you can see there that he is able to launch off of the turn a little bit better than the 66, gaining quite a lot of distance. No DRS through the start-finish line as it is a wet race right now. The ability to use DRS is usually turned off by the track marshal if they consider it a wet race. So again, out of the slow turn, you can see that we have to be a little bit more patient in applying the throttle, especially here coming out of turn 13. There we go, lost the back end just a little bit. You can see here that Lando Norris has gotten a little bit of distance on us, but the differential lock is kind of a tricky thing in that sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, even in the same turn. And if you have a theory about it, you can comment down below in the comments section. Right now we are struggling just a little bit because of that setting in the car settings. Having a good look at Lando Norris here. He got us a few laps ago in turn 1 and turn 2. There we are. You can see the sky definitely lightening up. Perhaps this rain will end before the end of the race, but you can see it does continue to rain. It is a wet track, although there is a dry line forming. Again, dipping our tires a little bit in the wet side of the track just to see if it'll keep them cool. You can see the tire temperatures there on the steering wheel. The rear tires are hotter than the front tires. We do have about 25% less air in the rears, and I thought it was a good idea to help deal with the slippery conditions, but you can see there that the less air that you have in them, the hotter they'll run. And that's something to consider for an endurance race or a race of 2 hours. So a few laps now behind Lando Norris here in the McLaren. He's not getting away from us, so somewhere around the track there must be a way to get around him. He's only half a second or so just ahead, and just under his wing here through the slow section. George Russell in Mercedes has fallen pretty far back, almost 5 seconds now. Our teammate in 9th place further back. And this is only lap 12 of 56. Traction out of turn 6. And we're going to have a good look at Lando Norris. We get by through turn 8, 9, and 10. And you can see there in the rear view mirror he pops in just a little bit. Very difficult to see how he was through that slow corner section, but again, we were able to get by. And down the back stretch, he's under the wing. He pops out. We are wheel to wheel coming into turn 14. He is on the wet side of the track, and he's going to have to slow down just a little bit. And it looks like it's overdone here a little bit by the 66. But not enough for Lando Norris. So coming in through the start-finish line, we're back in first place. Very tricky turn 2 and 3. Turn 4 here is the exit. And between turn 4 and turn 5, you can turn on the ERS just a little bit to get a boost out. Carefully out of turn 6, you can hear that we are short shifting again, just to make sure that we have the traction available in the rear wheels. Lap 14, we are going to use our ERS as we go down a back straight. Lando Norris not too far behind. There is George Russell in the distance, popping in third place. So turn 1 and 2, very wide for the 66. It looks like Lando Norris is going to be able to take back the lead. Again, very tricky section of the track there. And you can see that he is back in first place. Cooling our tires again down the back straight. Not close enough to put an attack on Lando Norris in the McLaren. Still within reach as we follow Lando Norris from second place with the number 66. Very slow turn 11. has not shown to be so treacherous, as it is also a tricky corner, and we thought it would be worse here in the rain, but pretty good so far. There is Lando Norris. He's putting quite a distance now. So he is not able to get away, and this is the point where we're going to have to start using our ERS very wisely. There are certain parts of the track where we can gain an advantage and make up some distance. Again, there is no DRS available in the rain, so we have to depend on our ERS. A little bit wide coming through turn 7. Don't really want to get those tires on the wet part of the track. Want to keep racing on this dry line here. Coming in through turn 10, we are 0.4 seconds behind Lando Norris. Again, a very wide view here at the track in Shanghai. It's a very vast complex. Very big grandstand areas here. Here we go, try to slingshot around in turn 1. Did not quite work, as it is still pretty slippery out, and you can see here that we've got to tuck back in under Lando Norris's rear wing coming out of turn 4. But we are very close right now, and again, very wise use of the ERS through the start-finish line just for more speed. Having a look through turn 6 here to the right. Coming in through turn 14, you can hear a little bit there that we had locked up the tires. There we are. Lando Norris comes into the pits, and that is going to be his first pit stop of the race. There he is. So we'll hang on here. There goes George Russell passing him. See which tires he puts on. It looks like another set of intermediates for Lando Norris. And just behind him, you can see there's a Ferrari that comes in, and that is Charles Leclerc. Second set of Intermediates, one of the Mercedes. This is Lewis Hamilton, also intermediates, on lap 19 of 56. Looking at the timing there, you can see other cars coming in. They are entering and exiting the pits. Back on board with the number 66 in the lead for now. More cars coming in through the pits. That is Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. This is Valtteri Bottas. Alex Albon also out of the pits. So lap 20 for the 66. Let's see if he comes in. Nope. Again, our strategy for this race is a single stop, and we're going to be doing that somewhere in the middle of the race. We could actually pit right now along with everybody else, but we're going to try to put more wear on this set of intermediates, just so that we can have a good set of tires at the end of the race if it does continue to rain. Obviously, if it stops raining, there is Oscar Piastri and the McLaren also coming in for another set of intermediates. Ferrari of Carlos Sainz coming in. More cars coming in. There's Lance Stroll, Sainz, Pierre Gasly now into the pits. Also intermediates on Pierre Gasly. That is Sergio Perez putting on a set of intermediates as well. Daniel Ricciardo. As they all rejoin the track. Is the number 66 with a clear track ahead. Again, not pitting in this lap. There we are. We gotta hit the apex of turn number 2 just to get to number 3 correctly, and then exit out of turn 4. On board with Kamui Kobayashi in the second driving immersion. Up ahead, Alonso, Stroll, and Verstappen. From the helicopter, you can see the number 66 very wide there into turn 9. Down the short straight onto turn 11 here to the left. And you can see that it continues to rain. However, there is a definite dry line, which is just perfect for a set of intermediate tires. Gonna run a little bit here in the wet side of the track just to keep them cool. Looking around on the wide shot, you can see that there's no one around. So for now we are fairly secure in the lead. So lap 22:56, you can see here after the pit stops that we are 21 seconds ahead of Lando Norris now. But the number 66 is due for a pit stop. Again, trying to ride on the wet portions of the track just to keep these tires cool. There we are, the apex of turn number 2, the apex of turn number 3. We look further back at the race and we see that Charles Leclerc is racing with Oscar Piastri, and this is for 4th place. Right now, one of the closest race on the track. Shuffling back to Kamui Kobayashi, our teammate, in the second driving immersion. You can see here that we are just about a half a second behind Fernando Alonso, and we are riding the train behind Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. And that will be 8th place for Max Verstappen. So here at the Shanghai International Circuit, it continues to rain on this 56 lap race. Coming around again to turn 2. And you can see in the distance that great grandstand complex. There's a timing tree on the right. And out in the distance you can see the power grid lines, or the towers that hold the lines. Some silhouettes of tall buildings in the background, many of which were not here when this track was initially built. 18 seconds now, 17 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. So we are losing time to him and his new intermediates. Again, our strategy is for a one-stop for the race. So we have to hang on just a little bit here. And the time difference we can still afford to lose, as Lando should be able to, well, he'll be required to come in for another set of tires. I don't quite know if you can make it to the end with a set of intermediates, pitting as early as he did. Looking back on our teammate, we are from the T-cam of Fernando Alonso. Again, the racing is fairly close here. So there you heard that Fernando Alonso had to upshift early just to make sure that he's got traction to exit out of turn 4. And that is the car that we're hearing now, is the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso in 10th place. And behind Kobayashi here you can see Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. But it looks a bit very good driving for our teammate. We do appropriate necessary resources for him to develop as a driver in between the races. And if you're ever taking on a full season with my team, you should invest in your second driver as well. Perhaps as much as your first driver, because he's going to help generate resource points. That's going to help you with upgrades to the vehicle throughout the season. Again, a very short train of cars right behind Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. And you can see there by the timing that he is now 13.5 seconds behind Carlos Sainz in a Ferrari. So in a matter of about 5 or 6 laps, we have lost about 4 or 5 seconds to the faster Ferrari. Obviously, Max Verstappen is struggling here in the rain in Shanghai. But these cars behind just don't have enough to get around at the moment. And we are back on board with the number 66, again coming in through 1, 2, and 3. We are watching to see if this will be the lap that he'll come in to change out of the first set of intermediates. I would think that considering the weather that we see on the track, another set of intermediates is probably the right choice. I can't see that a full set of wets is going to be required, as the dry line is still clearly visible even though you see the rain coming down. 16 seconds now ahead of Lando Norris, so we are slowly losing time to him. However, that's a lot of time that is padded because we are only stopping once for the race. And we are banking on the fact that, or the idea that Lando Norris will have to stop again just to finish the race. And we also have to imagine that George Russell is on the same strategy. So lap 27 of 56, you can see here that we passed the pits once again. So it's still not time for a pit stop. There is the line of cars behind Max Verstappen as we try to keep an eye on this part of the race. We are depending on Lance Stroll to be able to get around. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for the other cars that are being held back here. Down the back straight. Again, no DRS in the rain. You can see here that Lance Stroll is able to stay up, but definitely not enough speed to try to come in around the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. So this is going to be at lap 28 of 56. You can see the 66 coming in here through the pit entrance. Activate the speed limiter a little bit too early. Again, we expect a second set of intermediates to be put on. There is Lando Norris and the McLaren going by. And that is George Russell that has been coming in through the straight. There he is. That is third place. So coming in out of the pit stop here for the number 66, we are now 12 seconds behind Lando Norris. This is on board of George Russell in the Mercedes. That is the 66 just up ahead in second place. And you can hear him working with the throttle just to keep his traction here. Also braking very early for turn 10 or turn 11. on board with Kamui, you can see that we still continue to follow Max Verstappen. Still losing time to Carlos Sainz. We are now 19 seconds behind. So we're losing about a second a lap behind Max Verstappen. Back on board with the 66. Now 8.5 seconds behind Lando Norris, so we are making up a lot of time with this set of new intermediates. So a visibly drying track, although you can still see rain coming down. There is less and less tire spray as we circle the track. Having a look at the timing, it seems we are kind of rubber banding between Lando Norris and George Russell in second place. A little wide there. Going back to Max Verstappen, you can see here Lance Stroll on the inside of turn 14. Is he going to be able to take the place from Max Verstappen? Still challenging here through 16. Max has the inside line. Down the main straight. And it'll certainly unfold before turn 1. You can see now that Max has gotten a little bit of distance as Fernando Alonso also comes into race. Now ahead of his teammate in turn 1. Max Verstappen still in the lead. But now we've got Alonso right behind. So we're waiting for someone to pass Max Verstappen, who has been slowing throughout the race, struggling perhaps with the rain. Our teammate as well, challenging Lance Stroll through turn 6. And it looks like he's going to be able to out-accelerate him with the wider arc. Still struggling for grip through turn 7, turn 8 now. Slowing down for turn 8. Still on board with Kobayashi. Let's see if Alonso is going to try to get around Max Verstappen down this back straight. He's going to flick to the right. You can see here that he is wheel to wheel with Max Verstappen coming in through 14. And right now it looks like he's going to be able to get ahead, although they are still wheel to wheel. And is Max going to hold this through turn 16? Yes, he is still wheel to wheel through turn 16 down the main straight. And you can see here that Max has very good acceleration, perhaps more power in the Red Bull than the Aston Martin. Our teammate right now fighting with Fernando Alonso for 9th place, coming in through turn 1 and 2. That is Max just ahead, just holding up a small group of cars, and we're all trying to get by at this point. On board with Lance Stroll, we are watching Kamui Kobayashi, Fernando Alonso as we try to get around Max Verstappen here in 8th place. Falling further back from Carlos Sainz, now 33 seconds, so definitely a very slow Max Verstappen here. Coming through 8 and 9. And it's going to be up to Kobayashi to challenge Verstappen here. And we are back on board with the 66 as he has caught up with Lando Norris in the McLaren. And this is going to be the race for first place. Now Lando is going to have to come in for another set of tires, although at this point his tires should still be in pretty good shape. So we do expect a good run here. Coming down the back straight, we are going to have a very good run on Lando Norris. For right now, we take him through turn 14, and he's going to be squeezed out of 15. So the number 66 is back in the lead at turn 16 at the end of lap 34 of 56. So a very wide turn 2 there for the number 66 as you see him coming around, but Lando Norris is still trailing right behind. So coming around the back marker, there would be Logan Sargent in the Williams. And he's going to be getting the blue flag to let us through. There we are. See it in the background. It's waving by the marshals. Back to the race with Verstappen. You can see here that Lance Stroll and Alonso have gotten by, along with the driving immersion of Kamui Kobayashi. He is kind of streaking away now. And on lap 35, you can see here that Max Verstappen is being challenged by Pierre Gasly through turn 6. And he's able to accelerate out. Perhaps Max has worn his tires. But he did come in to change out along with the first group of cars. So he must just be struggling in the rain. Yuki Tsunoda now popping out of the straight, perhaps to get around Verstappen. And a look at the timing shows that he is ahead right now, coming into turn 14. And Max is going to outbrake him as he's got the dry line. On board with Yuki Tsunoda, that is the struggling Max Verstappen on lap 36. Well, looking at the timing, it looks like Lando Norris has come in. Unless he had stopped briefly or slowed down very briefly on the track, but we did not pass him, so he must have come in and changed out of his tires. And Oscar Piastri now getting a DNF. Don't quite know the details of his DNF right now. Perhaps we'll see him on the side of the track. And we see a bunch of cars coming into the pits, Max being one of them. And on lap 38 of 56, this will be for the second set, for the third set of tires, if they do a second two-stop strategy. And you can see here that they continue putting on intermediates. So 3 sets of intermediates for the cars that are stopping. So that would seem as if Lando Norris did come in to change out for his second stop. And now we are 26 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. On board with Fernando Alonso, now Max Verstappen, as we look for our teammate. There he is coming into the background. Another tire change for Carlos Sainz in a Ferrari. Again, a second or third set of his intermediate set. Back to Lando Norris in second place. He is now 26 seconds behind the number 66, who is in the lead of the race. Still shuffling back. We are having a look at Pierre Gasly for the second group of cars coming in for their third stop. And 3 sets of intermediates for all these cars. As I don't think the conditions will call for full wets. This is Max Verstappen now behind his teammate Sergio Perez in the other Red Bull. And having a look, you can see that Max continues to struggle here in the wets as his teammates start to put on some distance. Here we are, Esteban Ocon having a look at Max Verstappen on the inside of turn 14. Again, the dry line is on the outside. So Esteban Ocon has to give way to Max Verstappen. back from Max Verstappen. This is where the race is right now on lap 40 of 56. If you're just joining us, it's been a rainy race throughout. However, you can see here that there is a dry line now that's completely formed. Very big slide as a loss of grip for the rear on the number 66. We are looking around to see if we can rejoin the track. And that is our teammate that had just gone around, along with, I believe that would be Lance Stroll. Nope, Fernando Alonso. And we regain our composure, get back around and turn 14. Alonso still challenging here, however. If we pass him, we will be lapping him, so he's a lap behind at this point. And very far off in the distance here is our teammate. And we switch cameras as we're looking for Pierre Gasly. He is out of the race with a DNF. Didn't quite see what happened, but he will be the second driver out. Having a look at our teammate, he's going to give way to the number 66 as he gets lapped as well. And again, further back in the distance, you can see a blue flag being waved so that he can let him by. So here you can see both of the driving immersion circle of the track. However, Kamui here behind the number 66 is one lap down now. Again, the very tricky section 1, 2, and 3. As the track falls away into turn 3, curving to the left, left again on turn 4. So you can see here that the 66 is not quite getting away from Kamui Kobayashi, so our teammate is fast as well. But we are ahead of him now because I think he did a 2-stop strategy. In fact, we know he did a 2-stop strategy and we're only having a 1-stop. And looking behind Kamui, that is going to be Fernando Alonso in the other Aston Martin in 8th place. lap 44 of 56. You can see here that Kamui is still in tow, and so is Fernando Alonso. Both the cars are lapped now. Again, down the back straight through a DRS zone, which is not active now and has not been active throughout the race, as we continue to circle around on a wet track. All cars on a set of intermediate tires as we go around again. Back on board with Kamui Kobayashi just to watch the number 66 just up ahead in the lead of the race. Still raining here in Shanghai. Another lap down for the number 66 as we come through the start-finish line. As we drive through Sector 1, you can see the conditions have not changed much since the start of the race. The sky did get lighter though, but it continues to rain just enough to keep the track wet. The cars have formed a dry line, but again, the rain continues to fall just enough. Again, another loss of traction in the rear wheels coming out of 13. It's happened multiple times for the 66. We may not have enough rear wing, but at least it affords us a little bit more top speed as we are not able to use our DRS. And back to speed, we have put distance now on our teammate Kamui Kobayashi with Fernando Alonso just behind. Turn 6 here to the right, very slow as it falls away. Coming out of turn 10 again. And yes, those are grandstands covered up with the red tarp that you see there with the big advertising. I believe in the first and second race, those may have been open to spectators, but after that, I think the attendance here in Shanghai had decreased, so they have not used those for spectators for quite some time, at least in the Formula One circuit. And as you see now, they're just used for advertising. But again, as you look around the track, it's evident that civilization has creeped into the surrounding area here at the Shanghai International Circuit. We continue to circle with the number 66 driving immersion as we are commandingly in the lead of the race. We are 17 seconds ahead of Lando Norris, who is on his third set of tires. But he is catching up slowly but surely, as we have about 8 laps left to circle around. And very far off into the distance, just following us there, is the second driving immersion of Kamui Kobayashi. But he is all the way back in 13th place, so all of those cars are lapped. Here in Shanghai, some of the pit strategies have worked, some of them have not. Obviously, for the number 66, the one stop is doing very well so far. But again, it could be very different if the weather changed in one direction or the other. And coming around turn 6, having a look at the timing, you see that we have lost almost a second now to Lando Norris, just behind in second place. So he is going faster at this point. Distance is now down to 15 seconds between first and second place. Lap 50 of 56 as we're closing in the race. Now that dry line is getting wider and wider as we look down the pit straight here. And again, very little tire spray here from the set of intermediates. And if you're just joining us, this is the second set for the number 66 strategy for only a one stop throughout the race here. And it looks like it is unfolding very well for the number 66. Lap 51 of 56. We're going to shuffle back and look at the race between Yuki Tsunoda and Max Verstappen. And it looks like for throughout the race, Yuki Tsunoda has been stuck behind Max Verstappen. I don't know if it has anything to do with the relationship between the Red Bull and their second team. Obviously, the other cars are so much faster than Max Verstappen throughout the race, so we should expect that Yuki Tsunoda here should be able to get around Max, but he has not. As it stands, Max is in 11th place, so right now, barring any major failures, he does not qualify for even a single point for the race, and that may be one of the reasons why the car of Yuki Tsunoda has not gone around Max Verstappen. Is there such a thing as constructor's orders? Still very close until you would think that Yuki Tsunoda would be able to get around Max at this point. Back on board with the driving immersion, number 66. Down the back straight, riding in the wet portion of the track to keep our tires cool. Again, that is only a belief or a hope. If you know any difference about keeping the tires cool here, riding in the wet, if it does actually count or has some bearing here in the game, F124, you can comment below. It does in real life. If you are going to drive your wet tires in the wet, you can actually cool them on the wet track, as they will get to start overheating when the track runs dry or drier. And you can see here that there is a dry line, so that should affect the tires. And looking at the temperatures here, the left rear is definitely warmer than the right rear. But that heat there is basically due to the acceleration that we are doing out of the turns. Looking at the standings on lap 53 of 56. Driving immersion in the lead. Our teammate, 7th place. You'll see here that there are 2 cars that have not finished the race, or will not finish the race, and that's Pierre Gasly and Oscar Piastri. Very early on in the race. Hard braking into turn 14. Again, very firmly in the lead. No need to take risks at this point. We just need to bring the car home. Back on board with our teammate. Saw a little orange McLaren coming into the shot. That is going to be the 2nd place car of Lando Norris. And that is how much he is behind right now. And he's actually increased the distance. Now down to 20 seconds, or up to 20 seconds behind. So looking at the tire temperatures on the steering wheel, just for reference, the front tires are about 70 to 75% full or inflated, and the rear tires are about 50 when you are making your tire adjustments in the game. And you can definitely see the difference there in temperatures. The intermediates obviously operate at a lowered temperature as opposed to the slicks. So we are around 150 for the intermediates. And about 170 they start to get very warm, and you can tell that they are losing grip, especially with the rear tires. But with a set of dries on a dry track, especially the soft tires, you can reach about 212 Celsius, at which they will be at their maximum operating temperature. On board with Yuki Tsunoda, still stuck behind Max Verstappen in the McLaren, or I'm sorry, in the Red Bull. Back on board with the 66. Coming around across the start-finish line. And this is going to be the final lap. Firmly ahead of Lando Norris in 2nd place. nearly 25 seconds now, so he has slowed down. In the last 3 laps, there is a yellow flag being displayed, and that will be... it looks like there's a Ferrari in the background, parked along the side. It would be to the right of the road coming out of turn 4. And that is Charles Leclerc, being classified now as a DNF. So very briefly, we got to see a Ferrari in the background, stopped on the side of the track. And that was Charles Leclerc. You can see him falling down in the classification now as he has stopped on track. Final lap for the number 66, coming out of 13 now. And again, losing traction out of 13, and we got to look to see if somebody's coming around. Again, we are about 20-something seconds ahead of second place, so lucky for us, there's no one coming around. You can see here that we have a clear track, but again, losing traction coming out of 13. Just trying to accelerate out here through the back straight. Coming in through 14 now, just very carefully. You can see it continues to rain. And it's been a rainy race here at Shanghai, but again, very fruitful here for the number 66, coming home with a win. Thanks for watching the Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai at Driving Immersion. For more exciting racing, give us a like and click on subscribe or follow to join us for the next race. We'll see you again.